Hey guys, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we have my July and August book haul. So, the whole reason for me doing a book haul usually every other month is because I really thought I wasn't going to be buying as many books this year as I have in years past. I had a rule for myself, which was for every 2 new books that I read, I could buy 1 new book that I have not read. There were some exceptions to that rule. However, that rule sort of got forgotten over the last couple months. I'm not saying I found loopholes, I just did not consider my buying versus my reading. Now, I have been reading a ton. I read like 20 something books last month, and I'm already like over 12 books for this month with some more days left in the month. I'm in the middle of like 2 or 3 books right now, so it's not horrible. But I have 36 books to show you guys for the last 2 months. I also just can't believe it. I have an entire cart here full of books where only one shelf was supposed to be hauling books. There's so many good book releases lately that I have been having trouble keeping it down. That's what we're gonna go with. I just forgot my own rules. So a lot of these I'm just going to quickly give you what I know about them. Not all of them I know a lot about. I do have a lot of these like on my TBR on Goodreads, but I am that person that forgets a lot of synopses, and I don't need to know a lot about a book in order to want to read it. But we're gonna start with all of the July books first and then move into August. So one of the first ones they actually have here is Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angelis, and this was actually the Owl Crate book for June. However, it did come in late after I had already done my like June book haul, and so I think maybe even at the beginning of July, I don't fully remember, but we're including this. This is some sort of circus fantasy, I believe it is, and obviously Owl Crate edition. Very, very gorgeous. And here's our end papers. Then we have the July Owl Crate, which is Goddess in the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson. Again, beautiful Owl Crate edition, gold edges, and this is some sort of YA sci-fi where I believe our main character goes into some sort of stasis expecting to be shipped somewhere and woken up pretty recently, but instead is, I believe, in this stasis for at least a couple hundred years, maybe more. It's been a while. Okay, no, she expected to wake up in 100 years. She wakes up in 1,000, but she ends up being sort of portrayed as a goddess or something to the people that are there currently. I don't know much else. I love the cover. I love sci-fi. I need to pick it up. Then we're moving on to some of the ones that I just purchased on Barnes & Noble trips. We have Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This is a middle grade fantasy that I've heard nothing but good things. When I used to work at a Barnes & Noble, one of my coworkers, this was like her favorite middle grade series, and I picked it up. We also have another middle grade. This is Twinchantment by Elise Allen. I don't know much about this one, but again, it was one that I saw and thought was gorgeous, so I had to pick it up. In this world, anything that is deemed magical is banned. That includes like black cats and twins. So because of that, these 2 technically princesses here, Flissa and Sarah, are having to act as one person, but I do believe somebody figures out that they actually are twins, and stuff ensues from there. Then we have The Boyfriend Project by Farah Roshan. This one I didn't know much about when I picked it up, but it is an adult or new adult romance. But after being catfished, her and 2 of the other girls that were catfished at the same time sort of decide to swear off of guys, and our main character is trying to develop an app. Is it a dating app? I'm not entirely sure. Some sort of app. And one of the people she ends up working with is going to be our love interest and romance from there. Then we have some graphic novels. I picked up Fence Volume 4 Rivals. This is by C.S. Picot and Joanna the Mad. This is a graphic novel series, comic bind-up series. It used to come out in comics, and I think now they're more like graphic novels because they're all coming out as what the bind-up is. This is an LGBTQ focused story with fencing as well. I loved the first 3, and so obviously I had to pick this one up. I also picked up Locke Key Volume 1, Welcome to Lovecraft, as well as Volume 2, Head Games. These are by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. I really, really loved the show on Netflix, and so I picked up the first 2 volumes of this. I really do like to read multiple volumes, if at all possible, of comic bind-ups, graphic novels, manga, because they just go by so quickly, and in order to really determine if I like it, I need more than 1 volume. So I picked up both of these. I have a feeling I'm going to try and be reading these in October because, you know, spooky vibes. Then we're getting into some of the things I've already read. Some of these things I read previously to purchasing them, and then some of them I've read already. One is Check Please, Book 2, Sticks and Scones by Ngozi Okazu. This I actually read as it was a webcomic, and this is the last volume we need, and I needed to complete my collection, so I had to pick this up. Absolutely love this series. I also picked up Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. I had an arc of this that I read in June, I believe it was, because this came out at the beginning of July. Absolutely love this. 5 out of 5 stars. This is a male-male romance that I just absolutely love. It's definitely a fake dating trope in here as well, which was done perfectly. I loved our main characters, and I gush about this every time. This is not the review. I will leave my wrap-up for this down below. Then we have Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This one I actually ended up reading in August, so this will be in the August wrap-up. But I have read all of Riley Sager's books except for Lock Every Door. I don't have that one yet, but I did read Final Girls and The Last Time I Lied, and so this was the Literally Dead book club pick for August, so I had to pick it up. Really happy that I did. We also have I'll Be the One by Lila Lee. This one I also read in August for the Diversify That Shelf readathon, which I will leave linked down below as well because I definitely go into this book. But this one follows our main character of Sky, who is fat, plus-sized, and she is going to compete in a competition to try to, I think it's just win a trip to Korea to see like the K-pop industry stuff. So she sings and dances, and it's really, really good. It does have some fat-phobic stuff in here, and some stuff talking about the differences in cultures between the US and South Korea. But I had to pick this up when this came out. I also had pre-ordered a couple months before July. I don't fully know, but I had pre-ordered this off of Book Depository. It is a nice, fancy set of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. I have definitely read these before. I actually ended up reading The Hobbit, I think was in 5th grade, and then The Lord of the Rings was in 7th or 8th grade. And this is really heavy, that's why I'm not like fully holding it up, but these are gorgeous. They have illustrations and everything in them as well. They are nice hardcover books. So like here's The Hobbit. We have our map as the end papers. They also have the maps in the Lord of the Rings ones. And then, like I said, they do have illustrations as well, which are done by Alan Lee. I spent a lot of money on these books, and they are definitely worth it. The Lord of the Rings books I have right now, I have a couple sets besides this one, obviously, but they're all mass market sized because that's what I have. I actually have my original ones from 8th grade as well that have the movie covers. You know, so fancy. But yeah, I spent a lot of money on these, and I do not regret it at all. When I do a reread of this series, I do think I'm going to be using these ones because I want to see all the beautiful illustrations. And then the last couple things that we have for July are going to be Paper Girls Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chiang. So these are the first 2 volumes of a 6-volume series that follows 12-year-old paper girls from, I believe it's 1988. There is time travel elements and very weird elements. I've read these 2 already. It definitely ends not necessarily like open-ended because it is part of a comic series. Obviously they end with you knowing that there's going to be more, but because of the time travel elements and the fact that these girls are just thrown into this situation and we are thrown in with them, it gives us more questions than answers sometimes, but I really, really want to continue on with this series, which is why I purchased the last 4 volumes in August. So we're now moving into our August books. But we have Paper Girls Volume 3, Volume 4, Volume 5, and Volume 6. Like I said, I read the first 2, really enjoyed them. Don't know much else about these ones, but there's only 6 volumes total, so I bought the rest of the series so that I can read them. Next, we have Vicious Spirits by Cat Cho. This is the sequel and finale, because it's a duology, to Wicked Fox. I picked this up on release date, which I believe was August 18th, and I'm very, very excited to get to it. This one is a like fantasy world based on Korean mythology, gumihos, that kind of stuff. I absolutely love the first book, and so I'm very excited to get to this one, and it doesn't hurt that this cover is so gorgeous. Then I have You Had Me at Hola by Alexis Daria. This is an adult or new adult romance. I don't know much else about it. I do believe there are telenovela elements because I do think, yeah, there's soap opera darling Jasmine Lynn Rodriguez, and then Ashton was also killed off on his telenovela. So I'm very excited about this. I've heard really, really good things, and I love the cover. I'm a very big cover buyer, if you haven't been able to tell. I'm very excited for it. Then we have Heroine Worship by Sarah Kuhn. This is the 2nd book in the Heroine Complex series. I don't know if that's the full title of the series, but that was the name of the first book that I really, really enjoyed. I do believe I read that one in July, so wrap up will be down below. But it was sort of a tongue-in-cheek superhero B-movie-esque type of book that I really enjoyed, and so I had to pick this one up. I mean, the covers, again, are gorgeous, and it was a wild ride in the first one, so I'm very much expecting more of that in this, and I'm ready for it. Then we have Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. This I'm very, very excited for. I don't know a ton about it, but it is something to do with like the descendants of Cinderella and some sort of ceremony thing that they have to go through. I don't know, but our main character doesn't really want to do that because she likes another girl instead of, you know, the prince, I believe it is. So this is a female-female romance in here. It is a YA fantasy. I'm very much looking forward to it, and this is the beautiful UK edition that I had pre-ordered. Then we have The Faceless Old Woman Who Secretly Lives in Your Home by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. This is a Welcome to Night Vale novel. This is the 3rd one. I read the first one. I own the 2nd, which is, I think, It Devours. And I could not pass up the 3rd one in the store, even though I haven't read the 2nd one yet. But these are based on the Welcome to Night Vale podcast, which I absolutely love. And they're very weird. That's really all I can say. If you've heard the podcast, you know it's weird. And yeah, I'm very, very excited for it. I just could not pass it up. Then I also picked up Seven Devils by Laura Lamb and Elizabeth May. This is an adult sci-fi. Don't know much about it. I love the cover. It's been on my Goodreads TBR for a little while, and I had to pick it up. Yeah, I don't even really want to read the synopsis right now. I just know I need to get to it. I love sci-fi. Sci-fi is my favorite right now. Then I picked up The Immortal Crown by Rochelle Mead. I picked this up secondhand off of a friend's Depop store where they sell their unhauled books. And this is the 2nd book in the Age of X series. I do have the first one, Game Board of the Gods. Have not read it yet. This sequel is the last book for now. It is supposed to be more in the series. However, it did not sell very well, and so the third books page on Goodreads basically does say that Rochelle wants to continue the story, but based on sales, the publisher is not doing that, so I think she needs to wait for copyright or something to expire if she is ever going to go back into this world. It is an adult series by her, and I had to pick it up. I need to know what all of this is about. Then we have the August Owl Crate book, which is Star Daughter by Shweta Takrar. This one is another gorgeous Owl Crate edition and is a fantasy book about a girl who is the daughter of a star. As she's growing older and getting more into her power, she does accidentally end up injuring her father with some sort of star power, and only a full star can heal him. She's a half star, and so she's going on some sort of adventure to find, I'm pretty sure, a full star to help heal him. I am, again, loving these covers. That's the reason this book has been on my TBR for a while. Owl Crate kept the same beautiful art and just changed like the main color scheme, but I'm so excited for this. Then we're getting into books I've already read. So the first two books we have here, the baby's being a little loud, but the first two books that we have here are the Iron Fey series. So the first one is The Iron King, the second one is The Iron Daughter by Julie Kagawa. I read these books way back when they originally came out, but I love these covers and I had to pick them up. I believe these are the only first two covers that are out so far. The third and fourth books and whatnot, I don't think have their covers out yet, but these are absolutely gorgeous. This was the first series I ever read by Julie Kagawa, fell in love with it, and I need to get the other covers. I love her work, but this definitely deals with Fae, and if you have not read these, because they are an older series, definitely consider picking them up. I thought they were great. Then we have a very shiny one, A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Barnard. This is another book that I ordered and had come in August, obviously, but I read it for the Diversify That Shelf readathon. Again, link down below. Really enjoyed this one. This one has to deal with a lot of different disabilities. Our main character of Steffi is selective mute, and the reason she has to deal a lot with an anxiety disorder and shyness and introversion. And then our love interest in this book, because it is a YA contemporary romance, is Reese, who is deaf. So I really enjoyed this one, and the sort of real look it is into both physical disabilities and the mental disabilities, you know, things that people have to go through, especially since these are teens, that they had to go through, and I really, really enjoyed this one, and it's a very beautiful, shiny cover. Then we have the Illumicrate edition of A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous edition. I did an unboxing of this on my channel as well, and I read this book series earlier this year, fell in love with it, and so had to pick up this gorgeous, gorgeous book. Again, I had pre-ordered this a few months ago, but it came in August. Then we have Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I do just want to preface this by saying that I ended up also donating the price of the book to the Quileute tribe. I will leave the link to that donation page down below so you can check that out. It is basically to get them out of a tsunami zone, and because of the fact that Stephanie Meyer and the publishers and everything that we know about them have not donated to a people they have used in her book, I just felt it was something that I personally wanted to do. I actually got Midnight Sun on sale because I had pre-ordered it months and months ago, and so this, while it is a like $28 book, I think I got for closer to 18 or 19, and I did donate $30 to the Quileute tribe. This I will again talk about in my August wrap-up. And then finally, last but not least, we have The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. I had an arc of this that I read in July because this came out in June, so I will leave my July wrap-up, I think I've said July wrap-up at least once, down below. But this is one of my absolute favorite books of the year. It was so well written. This is a debut adult sci-fi book that deals with multiverses. Our main character of Kara is able to traverse multiverses through her job because she is dead on most other universes, because you can't have two instances of yourself in, you know, one universe. It was beautifully written. There was so much diversity in here, diversity with race, diversity with sexuality, diversity with gender. I fell in love with this. The writing style was gorgeous. It does look a little bit thinner than what I was expecting when I was reading the ebook, but that is not a detriment to this book. It is a standalone. I thought the ending was beautiful. This is one of my favorite books of the year. And so obviously I had to pick up a finished copy when it came out at the beginning of August. Now, we can see part of this, but can we like look at that? No self-control. I have no self-control. I have no excuses, even to myself, about this. Books bring me joy. I am definitely a collector of books as well as a reader of books. My entire living room is basically my library. No more words. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more videos. I have videos up Mondays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays. So I will see you then. Bye.